The Edmonton Oilers make a perfect signing heading into next season as they extend a key piece on the roster going into next season. But not only that, we get an update from an NHL insider saying there is another huge Oilers move incoming. We're going to break down this signing for a key young player within the organization and this other move that changes everything for the franchise moving forward. We're going to break down all this and so much more later on this episode. Before we get into that, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. If you're part of the 76.8% that haven't hit the sub button yet, but you want to stay up to date on everything to do around the NHL, from the Edmonton Oilers all the way to the Toronto Maple Leafs, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. It helps a ton, and in return, we'll give you daily updates from all around the league. But with that, Darius, let's just hop straight into this. And before we get into the next move that is coming to the Edmonton Oilers, we do see Stan Bowman continue doing some tidy work as they extended Podkolzin to a 3-year contract of an AAV of $2.95 million. Now, this does seem like a lot on the surface. A guy that scored 8 goals the last season, but the big thing with Podkolzin, acquired from the Vancouver Canucks last year, is still on a 1-year deal with $1 million AAV. Going into the year after that, you do get 3 years at just shy of $3 million with the cap going up. What is your initial thoughts on this contract?
Yeah, I think that it does actually make a lot of sense for the Edmonton Oilers because Podkolzin, when you look at it in a vacuum last season, did play a pretty good role for the Edmonton Oilers. And he's a player that I think you can win with in the playoffs. He scored a couple goals where, they're playoff style goals, if you want to call it that. Not the best offensively, like we all know that. And obviously, I do think there's a lot left to be desired in terms of the entire outlook of the roster. The fact that he might be playing on the second line again and stuff like that could, be problematic for the team long term. And, his contract is not horrible. The salary cap's going up. $3 million is going to feel like almost $1 million in a couple of years anyway. And he signed for the next 3 seasons. So for that reason, it does kind of make sense. But I do have to question a lot of the moves that the Oilers, or lack of moves that the Oilers have been making, because there is the big, cloud hanging over their head of, will Connor McDavid stay or will he go? And you have to continue to do good things with this roster, and going out and only signing Podkolzin or resigning, I should say, and Mangiapane as your big moves doesn't necessarily scream we're trying to make a big swing and trying to win a Stanley Cup. So I think it's an interesting move. I think it could work out, but if that is your move, like this is the big swing, this is the big move that we've been plotting on, doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that's the case. There is another move we're going to get to in a second as well. But for those reasons, I think it's okay. But I'm still confused. There's still a major question mark, at least for me, looking from the outside, looking in on the Oilers. Like, what is to give here, right? Like, something has to give here.
And I mean, the big thing with Podkolzin, he did speak out after signing, saying, I love what I do, and when I have the opportunity to play with the best players in the world, that's awesome. Now, Podkolzin, like you said, 8 goals last year in 62 games. He always struggled to find his offensive touch. He did this with the Vancouver Canucks. He played pretty well in the AHL with the Abbotsford Canucks, but the big thing is, the Oilers are taking a big bank on a lot of guys that haven't been proven NHL talent. And listen, Podkolzin does a lot more than just score goals and put up points. But when you're looking at Oilers team that is looking for the middle six scoring to help go on the deep runs, to conquer the Florida Panthers that they haven't been able to do over the past 2 seasons, it does get hard. But the big thing is, Podkolzin is going to be a relentless work ethic. He's going to go out. He led them in hits, 211 last year. A middle six forward who can continue to work on his game and show more offense in the future. But you're really banking on a big jump. When you're playing with, is it Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, you need to produce at a high level to give that second score. And we've seen it with Zach Hyman year after year. We see it with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But the big thing with Podkolzin, he does bring some great games when it comes into the playoffs. 22 games played, 10 points, including 3 goals. He went out to throw 100 hits over the 22 games. Listen, Darius, Podkolzin is a guy that you love to have within your lineup. Someone that every team wants to have. Someone that's going to throw a massive hit, score you a goal at points of the season. But looking at this, do you think there is a world where we could see Podkolzin take the next step to become that top 6 guy? Or do you think the Oilers are just really banking that the rest of the top 6 can almost bring him along for the ride?
The second one there. I think that, it's the rest of the top six probably taking him along for the ride. I think Podkolzin at this point is exactly who he's going to be. Like, I don't think he's going to take any gigantic steps forward or anything like that. Yes, he is relatively young, but I just don't see that happening at this point. Personally, once a player gets in like the 24 to 26-year-old range, that's just what they are at that point. You can add a few things and play different roles for different teams and stuff like that. But I don't think that he's going to add anything crazy this season for the Edmonton Oilers. So I think that he could be a decent option, especially with some injuries as like a middle six player, maybe on a third line, something like that, if the Oilers had more scoring in the top six. But it really just seems like, hey, this is a decent option. We're going to stick him with Draisaitl and hope for the best. And Draisaitl will probably propel them to victory, obviously, with Connor McDavid as well on the top line. So don't necessarily like the move in that way. Again, I don't know if he's going to take a step forward. The advanced analytics do speak for themselves too, as you had up on screen too. Like, he is productive, right? You can't take that away from him. And his playoffs, he's very good. He's a physical player, all of those things. I'm not going to take that away from him, right? But I just don't know if that's the option. I feel like you need a little bit more in the lineup because a lot of teams have what Podkolzin is like in their bottom six. They have that on their teams, especially teams like you brought up the Florida Panthers. Almost all their goal scoring came from their bottom six sometimes. Like, their top six goes away, and it happens to the best teams, right? So it'll be very interesting to see if that is the only thing they do heading into the season or if another move is coming up. Because we knew that there was going to be some re-signings, but this roster to me still is lacking something. And I think it's something that Connor McDavid is very aware of.
And what you guys thoughts on this, Oilers fans? We're going to get into the next move that is coming, but what is your thought? Do you think the Oilers and Stan Bowman kind of threw together a lot and hope that some of it sticks to the wall as they go in wanting to get scoring and production out of players that might not have proven it recently or before? Let us know down below, but it goes straight into a Frank Seravalli report that we've seen that they're getting non-McDavid business done. Listen, McDavid's the biggest story around the Oilers, but we do see that an extension for Jake Walman is the next in line. Now, the big thing with Jake Walman, acquired from the San Jose Sharks, he did fit really well in this team. A guy that's going to go out and be an offensive threat every single night. We know he has a bit of grit and tenacity to his game, going out to put up 8 points in 15 games and 10 points in 22 playoff games. But the big thing, Darius, it kind of falls back into this team needing offensive output. We know the contract's probably going to come in at 5, 6, maybe even 7. 7 might be pushing it. But what is your thoughts on Jake Walman's production and the fact the Oilers are kind of getting tidy work done on everyone except for the franchise player?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the franchise player tells you where he stands right now, right? And that is, I'm not signing a contract right now. So you can't let that stop you from making other business decisions. And obviously, Podkolzin, you knew it was going to get done. And my argument basically is that they still need to do more. And I'm glad that they're signing Jake Walman. Jake Walman was fantastic since coming over to the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, like you mentioned, from the San Jose Sharks, his point production in the regular season, for the small sample size that he was there in the regular season, was great. I thought he was great as a two-way defenseman too, right? Like, he was very responsible. He looked awesome in the playoffs. Not even like point production aside, because it is really good still. And he had a really good finals, came up huge with that one goal. I believe it was in game 4. So he had a great playoffs. You want to keep guys like that around. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to play games because feelings can change over the course of a season. So why not get them locked up? And your defense looks that much better because of that. If you were going to lose him, I feel like the defensive situation gets a little hairy now. Ekholm's getting older. Nurse's contract's going to be expiring soon, which he does make a lot of money, and obviously him and Bouchard in the same defense core is a little troubling for me as well. But good to get Walman, locked up as well. We don't know exactly what the contract's going to look like, but he was great in that system. We know that. Where he played before, he was decent with some of the other teams. Like, he was never a bad defenseman, but he fits the system. He fits with this team and the culture. So you have to re-sign him. So I think it's a great move for the Edmonton Oilers to get that done. Obviously, if McDavid, none of that is budging at this time, you have to go out and do other stuff and continue to build out your team. And I feel like he is a part of this team. He's found a home in Edmonton. So again, I can't reiterate it enough. Like, he was fantastic in the playoffs. He was driving play. He was skating so well. Smooth skater, likes to toss out the gritty here and there as a celebration, as well, as we've seen in the past. So I think Oilers fans, this is becoming a fan favorite for them as well. And, his play speaks for himself.
And I think the big thing with Walman, getting him in this on a new contract, like you said, does solidify the back end so much more. Darnell Nurse needs to take the next step and really prove that he's ready to have that breakout campaign once again with the Oilers Ekholm's getting older. Bouchard has his flaws, but the big thing is bringing in Walman as your third or fourth defenseman is recipe for great success on a defensive line. But guys, what is your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on Podkolzin getting an extension? Is this too much? Do you think his plateau hasn't been reached yet? Let us know down in the comment, including how much you think Jake Walman's going to get. While down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Oilers fans.